श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मणदेवासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवतः नारायणे स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितं पुराणमुनिनां मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीमष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते विद्वेषणे। नारायणपरो व्यक्तादण्डमव्यक्तसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्विमे लोका सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी अवतीर्णश्च कालट्यां केदारेऽन्तर्हितश्च यः चतुष्पीठपतिष्ठातः जगत जेताच्छङ्करो गुरुः शङ्कारूपेण मच्चित्तं पङ्गीकृतबोध्य किङ्किरीय ससामाय शङ्कराचार्यमाश्रये. So we were looking at Duryodhana scared, and he goes to Drona and he explains about the army on the Pandava side, and then he also explains who is on his side there. He says at the end of that, he says, Ayanechu sarveshu yatha bhagamavastita bhishmameva bhirakshantu bhavanta sarva evahi. So he says, Bhishmameva bhirakshantu. Protect only Bhishma. Okay, from all the paths that's leading to Bhishma, go everybody yatha bhagamavastita. So just as it's allocated to you, do your place, go and stand there and protect Bhishma. Bhishma, because he looks at and thinks that it's such a huge, Pandavas are so strong, and the only person that can protect is Bhishma, and he was so scared, and he asked everybody to make sure that Bhishma is protected. As long as Bhishma is there, his view is that there is a good chance that he probably will be safe. So, listening to this Duryodhana's cries, and he's looking him so scared, Bhishma thinks, and what he does is, Tatashankascha Berescha Pandavana Gomukah. So, sorry, what Bhishma does is, he Satya Sanjayana Harsham Kuruvriddha Pratamaha Simhanadam Vinaddoche Shankam Tadno Pratapavan. So, what Bhishma does, he blows his to make everyone happy and come out of this scare that Duryodhana is in, so fear that's he is in. So what he does, he Simhanadam Vinaddoche Shankam Tadno Pratapavan. So he blows his Shanka conch shell. He blows his conch shell with huge roar. He blows that. So once he blows that, so we looked at up to this. So then what happens? Tatashankascha bherescha panavana gomukah sahasai vabha Tatashankascha bherescha panavana gomukah. Sorry, I lost where it is. Sahasai vabhyan anyanta sa shabda stumulo bhavat. So what happens is, so meaning is, so just immediately after that, conch, kettle drums, tabors, trumpets, cow horns, all these blared. So all these were blown, and that sound became very tumultuous. So this is the meaning of this shloka. So immediately after, so sahasa eva. So just immediately after, just at that moment, immediately after Bhishma blew his conch shell, immediately after that, tata, after that, after the action of Bhishma, different kinds of music instruments were blown. music instruments like Panava. Panava is tabor. Anaka is trumpet, and Gomaka is broadly could consider as a horn. Abhyahanyanta. So all that played forth. So all of them were blown. Okay, so all these musical instruments were blown immediately after Bhishma blew his conch shell. And what did that uh, blowing of all these musical instruments, different kind of instruments, what did it do? Saha, that shabda, that sound, abhyavat was, so that sound was, how was it? Tumulaha. It is tumultuous, it is wild, it's chaotic, it's disorderly. Because everybody started blowing, it was very chaotic. So what this Tumulaha word, what it says is, the idea is, Madhusudana Saraswati here in his Bhashya, he says that Pandavanam Kshobho Jata. He says that it did not shake Pandavas. It did not create any fear that such a sound that's coming from Kauravas did not scare Pandavas. So that's that. So yeah, so Pandavam Kshobho Jata. So it means so it did not scare Pandavas. So that's what happened. So then what happened after that? Here, Tatashvetai Hairukte Mahati Sindhanestado Madhava Pandavaschaiva Divyo Shanko Pratadgano. So here, meaning is then Madhava and the son of Pandu sitting in that magnificent chariot with white horses yoked to it, loudly blew their divine conch shells. So that's the meaning. We will come to the details in a second. Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjaya Poundram Dadmo Mahashankam Bhimakarma Vrkodara. So Rishikesha blew Panchajanya, Dhananjaya blew Devadatta, Vrkodara of terrible deeds blew the great Shanka called Poundra. Then Ananta Vijayam Raja, this is the 16th shloka in first chapter. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sugosha Manipushpakau. So Yudhishthira, the Kunti's son, blew Ananta Vijaya. Nakula Sahadeva, they blew Sugosha and Manipushpaka. Then Kashyascha Parameshwasa Shikandi cha Maharata Drishtadyumno Viratascha Satyakescha Parajita. So Kashi Raja, who is having great bow, wielding the great bow, and chariot rider Shikandi, Drishtadyumna Virata Satyaki, the unconquered. And the 18th shloka continues the same thing. Drupado Draupadeyascha Sarva Sarvasah Pradivipate Saubhadrascha Mahabahu Shankam Dadno Pratak. So Drupada, Draupadi's sons, and Subhadra's son, and the mighty warrior Subhadra's son, one after another, O king, they blew the respective conch. So their own conch shells, they blew. So we will look at this set of shlokas now from shloka 14th to 18th. What does that mean? So first one is Tatashvete Hairukte Mahati Sendane Stito Madhava Pandavaschaiva Divyo Shankham Padagdadu. So Padagmato. So here Tatashvete. So Tata then so here it mentions about the Pandavas. Tata Shvetai. So then immediately Tata Shvetai. Shveta is white. Shvetai Hairukte. Haya is his horses. Mahati Sendane. So Mahati Sendane. So Mahati is means great. Okay, so magnificent. Sandana is chariot. Stito is in that chariot, riding in that. Madhava. Madhava is Krishna. Why is called Madhava? I think we looked at last time, right? So Madhava. So Ma is Lakshmi. Ma means Lakshmi. Dhava is husband. Lakshmi is husband. So that's why it's called Madhava. The alternative other meaning is he is from Madhu's race. So in Krishna's race, if you look from Yadu onward, so if you look at that, there's a person called Madhu, and that's why it's called Madhu. He is Kartivirya Arjuna's son. And so that's why it's called Madhava. And also, if you look at Rama, is also called in Ramayana. Sri Rama is also called Madhava. Why? Because he is born in Madhumasa, in the springtime. He was born, and that's why it's called Madhava. So again, the meaning changes here. Madhava is either you can look as Krishna, Lakshmi's husband, Madhava, or the one from Madhu's race. So again, Dhava is husband. So we use the same word, for example, Vidhava. Vidhava, that means one without husband, right? So one is lost husband, Vidhava, widow. So Madhava is Lakshmi's husband. So Madhava is blue is conch shell, and Pandava. Pandava's Chaiva. So again, Pandava here means Arjuna. It's not others, because in that chariot, Arjuna is there. That's why we are saying it's Arjuna. And it doesn't clearly say that it's Arjuna. It could be any of 5 of them. But in this shloka, it means Arjuna because he is the one that's in that chariot. Then if you look at that, Divyo Shanko. So Divya means divine. It is not an ordinary Shankar conch shell. So it is not an ordinary Shankar they were blowing. So Krishna and Arjuna, they were not blowing a ordinary Shankar. It is a divine Shankar. It is Divya. And Prataknutu, that means they made loud noise coming up from that. So they that's what happened. So in that Shweta, in that white horses tied to that chariot, Divya, that great chariot, Mahati Sandane, in that were riding in that Krishna and Arjuna, they blew their Divya Shankar, Divine Shankar, they blew their loudly, they blew their Shankar. So what type of Shankar they blew? Panchajanyam Rishikeshu Devadattam Dhananjaya. So Krishna blew with Shankar Panchajanya. So again, we know that Panchajanya is Krishna, something he got from when Panchajanya, we learn about Panchajanya, Krishna getting Panchajanya in Bhagavad Purana, right? So Krishna was a student or disciple of Sandipini Maharshi. He was there for 64 days learning 64 different types of Shastras. So he was learning, and at the end of that, he asks for he says that he wants to offer Guru Dakshina to Sandipini Maharshi. And Sandipini Maharshi says that he asks to bring back his dead son. So again, Guru Dakshina is anyone learning, one who learns, always at the end one gives Guru Dakshina, right? So there are different ways of Guru Dakshina one can offer. One is Guru Shishrishaya. So that means doing service to gurus. We look at this in Mahabharata very beginning of Mahabharata, right? So Dhaumya and his students were they were doing service to gurus, and through that they uh, did their Guru Dakshina. And then another one is Vidyaya Vidya. So that means if you learn something, you teach something else. So that is another option. So example would be what we saw in Vanaparva in Mahabharata stories, where Nala Nala Chakravarti, King Nala, he learned the science of mathematics and numbers and things like that, and also dice game, right? So he learned that from Rituparna, and Rituparna from Nala. Rituparna learned from Nala the science of uh, horse lore, how to look after the horse, how to ride the horse, and all those things, the science of horses. So he learned that. So they exchanged their knowledge one another. So they learned Vidya Vidya. So they learned from one another. So that's how Guru Dakshina is done. Another one is Dana, giving something in return what Guru asks. So that's as the third option, and there is no fourth option. So Manusmriti says that there is no fourth option. So there are only three options. One is Guru Shishrishya, you're doing service to Guru. Another one is Vidya, exchange, knowledge exchange. Another one is Dana, giving giving something to Guru. So here, when Sandipini Rishi asks Krishna to bring back his dead son, Krishna realizes that his dead son was Sandipini's son was dead in the Prabhasa there in that sea. His son was killed, and Krishna goes there, and that in that sea he sees huge, we can call fish or crocodile or whatever, an animal which was there, which is a rakshasa called Panchajana, and that Panchajanya he kills, and inside that, when he looks, he does not find Rishi's son, but he finds a conch shell, and that's the Panchajanya conch shell. And similarly, we look at and then Krishna goes to Yamaloka and then brings the son back and things like that. So that story continues. So that's how Krishna gets Panchajanya. And then we look at similarly, if you look at Guru Dakshina, other examples we come across in Udyoga Parva in Mahabharata. Rishi Galava, he was asked to give 800 horses to his guru. Guru asked for 800 horses with a special feature, right? So 1 year plaque and things like that. He asks for that, and then he takes help from Yayati's daughter Madhavi to that. And similarly, we learn in Adi Parva, Guru Dakshina, where Utanka gives an earring to Veda's wife, right? So Guru's wife, she asks for a earring of the king, and Utanka, when he goes to gets that, Takshaka abducts that and those kind of things. Similarly, so we uh, we we look at all the different ways of Guru Dakshina offering, right? So here Krishna, as part of that Guru Dakshina episode, he gets Panchajanya, and that's the one he blows. Who is blowing here? Rishikesha. So Rishika means Indriya or senses. Isha is Lord. So Krishna is the Lord of the senses. So that's why it's called Rishikesha. So here Panchajanya is blown by Rishikesha, and then Devadatta Dhananjaya. So Devadatta story also we looked at in Mahabharata already. When Pandavas in forest, at that time Vyasa comes there, he gives Pratismriti to Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira gives that science, that knowledge of Pratismriti to Arjuna, and tells him to go to Devaloka and get all the weapons, divine weapons, celestial weapons, right? So then Arjuna goes, penance, does the penance. Shiva comes there from Shiva after having a battle with Shiva. He gets Pashvatastra, and then he gets all the weapons from Yama, Kubera, Varuna, and then goes to Swarga. There, with Indra, he learns all the other science and all the weapons, all the divine weapons. From that, after that, as a Guru Dakshina, there Arjuna offers to Indra asks him to defeat or destroy Nivata Kavachas, right? So when Arjuna was going there, at that time, after defeating those Nivata Kavachas and destroying the Hiranyapura, Arjuna returns to Swarga, and Indra became very pleased. He gives him this Devadatta Shanka, right? So Arjuna's Shanka, again in Udyoga Parva, we learn about this Devadatta, how it came through different people, right? So Varuna to Chandra and various other people it came through. So we learn about that in Udyaga Parva as well. It is mentioned just before, or Udyaga Parva, sorry, in Virata Parva, just before the Virata war, when Arjuna blows his Devadatta Shanka, we there is the details of the origin of this Devadatta Shanka. So Dhananjaya. So Arjuna is mentioned here as Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya, the name again is explained in Virata Parva when Arjuna himself explains why he is called Dhananjaya. Dhana is wealth. So Jaya means one who has won all those wealth. How he won? When Yudhishthira was planning to do Rajasuya sacrifice, at that time Arjuna went on a uh, uh, he went all over the world, defeating everybody, all the kings, and taking the wealth from them for this sacrifice, right? So he accumulated so much wealth, and that's why it's called Dhananjaya. So, and here Panchajanyam Rishikesha, Krishna blows Panchajanya, Devadattam Dhananjaya. And then Poundram Dadmo Mahashankam, Bhima Karma Vrukodara. So Poundra. So Bhima Karma means Bhima is terrible. Karma means actions. So the one who does terrible actions, that person here is mentioned as Vrukodara. Vruka is boar. Okay, so wild boar. So Vrukodara means then one who eats like a uh, wild boar, so a lot of food. Okay, but he is capable of digesting that as well. So this Bhima Karma Vrukodara is the one who is capable of doing all the terrible actions of having that uh, this such a uh, thing that that person is actually is Bhima. So it is talking about Bhima here, and he blows Poundra. The conch shell that came from Poundra is actually blown here. So in Madhusudana Saraswati, in his Bhashya, he explains, sorry, just going back on the previous line, Rishikesha, he explains Rishikesha gives another meaning as well. So I said it is the lord of the senses, organs, and things like that. So the controller, okay, so controller of everything. And here in this case, Madhusudana Saraswati, says that he is the controller or the helper of the Pandavas. So Krishna here is the helper. And also he gives he explains the Sarvendriya Preragatvena Sarvantaryami Sahayah Pandava Nimiti Katayitum Rishikesha Patam. So Rishikesha is actually internal controller. He is the impeller. He is the internal control of all the organs and senses, and he is the helper of the Pandavas. That's why it's called Rishikesha. So Pandava and then Poundram Dadmo Mahashankam, Bhima Karma Vrukodara. So Bhima here blows that Shanka, which is from Poundra. Then the next shloka, 16th shloka, is Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sugosho Mani Pushpago. So Ananta Vijaya. Ananta is ever, never ending. Okay, so Vijaya, victory. So it always victors, ever victorious. Raja, who is that? Raja, king. So again, he's called king here because he is the real king. If you look at the earlier shloka, second, third shloka, okay, when Duryodhana went to Drona, he was also called Raja, but at that time we explained that he is not a king, right? He's never been a king. He's called as king because he's leading. He's under his command, under his leadership, the army is assembled. That's why it's called. But Dhritarashtra is the king. But on the other hand, Yudhishthira is the one who performed Rajasuya sacrifice, and that's why he is called Raja. He is called Raja, king, and he is the emperor. So he is the Chakravarti. Okay, he is the one who has done everything. Rajasuya sacrifice. So Ananta Vijayam Raja, Kunti Putro Yudhishthira. So Kunti Putra. So here Kunti Putra, Kunti's son. So that's the literal meaning. Madhusudana Saraswati again explains here that Kunti Putra, he is called Kunti Putra here because he is in this war because of Kunti's ask. So Yudhishthira did not want to get into war, but he is there because of Kunti's ask. If we look at in the Udyoga Parva, Kunti sends a message to Krishna. Through Krishna, she sends a message to Yudhishthira saying that as a Kshatriya, your duty is to become a king and rule the people, not live like a sannyasi, right? And that's why Yudhishthira is here. And that's what Madhusudan Saraswati calls out in his Bhashya, saying that he is called Kunti Putra because he is there because of Kunti. Then Yudhishthira. Stira means unshaken. Okay. Yudhi means battle. So the one who is as is always unshaken, remains unshaken in the battlefield, that person is Yudhishthira. So Kunti Putro Yudhishthira, Ananta Vijayam Raja, Kunti Putro Yudhishthira means ever victorious king, that Kunti's son, who is always unshaken, never unshaken, he is never shaken in the battlefield, right? So that is Kunti Putra Yudhishthira. And so, and but looking at him again, because he is Yudhishthira, he is unshaken in the battlefield. The people who come to face him, his enemies, or they never remain unshaken. Okay, they are always shaken by his presence there, and that's why he's called Yudhishthira. Then the second part of this shloka, Nakula Sahadevascha Sugosho Mari Pushpako. So Nakula blew Sugosha and Sahadeva blew Manipushpaka. The word blue is not there here, okay, but that's to be added. All these people will be mentioned, that needs to be added. Again, if you look here, so we talk about first Arjuna blowing his conch shell, Krishna, and then followed by Arjuna, and then Bhima, and then Yudhishthira. So in among Kunti's sons, it went from the youngest to the eldest, Arjuna, Bhima, and Yudhishthira. And then if you look at Madri's sons, it went from Nakula Sahadeva. Normally, when we say Nakula Sahadeva, Pandava's name, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula Sahadeva, right? So that means that's the order we say. Nakula is considered as elder than Sahadeva. So the order changes, right? So if you look at Kunti's sons, the conch shell, how they Shankara they blew, the order is from youngest to the eldest. But here it looks like Nakula first blew and then Sahadeva next. So Nakula is eldest. It went from eldest to youngest. But that's not the case, because in Shastras, when there are twins, the youngest is the one who's born first. Okay, so among twins, youngest is the one who is born first, and eldest is the one who is born later. Because this comes in Manusmriti and other smritis as well. So it says that the person who is actually got into the womb, who is first formed, that person comes out last. Okay, so that's why the last born is actually the eldest as per the Shastra. So normally what should happen, this most people don't know this, okay, and that's why it does not happen these days. The Shastra people don't know. When there is a wedding or Upanayana or any samskaras that's happening, among the twins, the second born or the third born or the triplets or whatever you have, right? So when, let's say twins here, so when the twins are there, the second borns should have the samskara first, Upanayana, wedding, and all those things should happen first, and then the firstborn, because firstborn is the younger one according to Shastras. So that's how it should be. So if you look at like that, Nakula is the considered as the youngest, and that's why he blew first, and then Sahadeva, the eldest, blew after that. So the order younger to elder remained same in Madri's sons as well. So Kunti's sons as well as Madri's sons, the order of blowing the Shankar remained same from younger to elder in both Kunti's sons and Matri's sons among all the 5 Pandavas. So they blew their Shankar, Sughosha, and Manipushpaka. So once they blew, then Kashyascha Parameshwasa, Shikandi cha Maharata, Drishtadyumno Viratascha, Satakischa Parajita. So Kashi Raja, so king of Kashi, the eldest in that Pandava's army. So Kashi Raja, he blows Parameshwasa. So he is wielding the great bow. Okay, so that Kashi king, and then Aparajita means unconquered in the fight. So that Satyaki is there, and he blows his things. So because Satyaki, when he went against Bana and others, he remained undefeated when he tried to help Krishna in acquiring that Parijata flower from heaven and that thing. So he remained undefeated even against Devatas. He remained undefeated. That's why he's called Aparajita. So unconquered. And Shikandi, Drupada's son, Shikandi, Maharata. So he is the Maharati. That Shikandi is there. Drishtadyumna Viratascha, Drishtadyumna and Virata also blew their conch shell. So how did they blew? Then Drupado Draupadeyascha Sarvasa Prativipate. So Draupadi sons, okay, Draupadi's sons. Drupada blew his conch shell. Draupadi's sons, 5 sons, they blew their sons, and Sarvasha Prativipade. So all those blew their conch shells. Prativipate, ruler of the earths. They are the ruler. So here, Prativipate is the word Sanjaya addressing Dhritarashtra. Okay, O king. So he is saying, O king, Draupadi's sons, they also, O king, they blew their conch shells, their Shankar. And who else blew? Saubhadrascha Mahabahu. So Mahabahu, again, Maha is mighty, okay, or lengthy. Bahu, arm. So he is that Saubhadra is Subhadra's son, that is Abhimanyu. He also blew his conch shell, Shankam Dadno. Okay, so he also blew his Shankar. How did all these people blew? Who are Krishna, Arjuna, Bhima, Yudhishthira, Nakula Sahadeva, Kashi Raja, Shikandi, okay, and then we had Kashi Raja, Shikandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, Satyaki, and then Draupadi's sons, and then Abhimanyu, right? So all this, again, if you count here, this also comes to 18 and things like that, just like we said previously. So 18 people means 18 is Jaya, so victory and things like that. So already covered all that previously, right? So those people blew their conch shell. How did they blew? Pratak. So they blew respectively one after another. If you look at how Kauravas blew in that shloka, when we looked at it, and the word used there was, what is the word? Tumulaha, right? So it is chaotic, it is disorderly, right? So Sahasaivabhyahanyanta Sashabda Stumulobhava in the 13th shloka we learned, looked at that. So that sound was Talmaras. So it is very chaotic, disorderly. But if you look at the Shankar blew by the Pandavas, it is described as Pratak, one after another. It is means it was such a scary thing, continuous blowing of that Shankar by one after another, Krishna to Abhimanyu, all the people one after another, they blew their conch shell, and these are not ordinary conch shells as well, right? As we heard Panchajanya, and among Kauravas, we did not hear even one Shankar name, but here we heard about so many of them, right? Panchajanya, Devadatta, Ananta Vijayam Raja, Kunti, Yudhishthira. So again, he blows Poundra by Bhima, Sugosha, Manipushpaka, and all these Shankar names we hear, right? So that means they are all famous Shankars, they are divine Shankars. And we looked at in the Virata Parva, right? When Arjuna blew his conch shell in anger, when he was fighting everybody, he wanted to control that Kuru army. He blew that Panchajanya. Immediately, entire Kuru army they fainted because of that noise. It was such a sound. So imagine such as 18 people blowing such a divine shankars one after another continuously. What it means is this Pratak is saying here that Kauravas, all of them were frightened by that. Dhritarashtra's army, they were scared by this sound of this conch shells that's coming, which we see in the next shloka, 19th shloka we see. Again, if you look at Kauravas, it was chaotic. On the other hand, Pandavas Shankar blowing was very much to scare the Kauravas. So that's how it came through. Then we look at the 19th shloka. Saghosho Dhartarashtranam Hridayani Vidharyat Navascha Prativim Chaiva Tumulo Vanunadain. So it means that sound, that tremendous sound that pierced the hearts of sons of Dhritarashtra as it reverberated through the sky and earth. Okay, so that Shankar that's blown by the 18 warriors mentioned here and the rest of the Pandavas army were not named here. All of them blew one after another. They blew their conch shells, and what it did, it pierced the hearts of the Dhritarashtra's son. And that tremendous sound, Ghosha, is a sound that pierced them. Okay, so the sound of conch shells by the by that through that sound of conch shells in the army of followers of Dhritarashtra, it was greatly tumultuous, right? Yet it did not become source of agitation in Pandavas. But the sound of conch that rose from Pandava army, it is Vedarayat. It pierced. What it pierced? Hridayani, the hearts of whom? Dhartarashtranam, of all the Dhritarashtra's associates. Okay, even Bhishma, Drona, and others, everybody, it pierced pain in it pierced that pain in the piercing in that heart. It filled that by how did it pierce created that pain in the heart? By filling up Nabha. Nabha is sky. So and Cha Prithivim and earth. So that sound filled up the sky and earth by doing that with echoes, because it was Tumulaha that was tumultuous and very intense. Okay, so that intense sound that's coming from all the divine Shankars from Pandava's army was piercing the hearts of the Dhritarashtra and his army. After indicating that the associates of Dhritarashtra were stricken by fear and things like that, Sanjaya presents here the reverse case of the Pandava army. Okay, so reverse in the case of, so what happened in Pandava army after this Shankar blow, he presents that in the next shloka. So that is the 20th shloka. So here Shankar, Sanjaya continues, he narrates that Atha Vyavastitam Drishtva Dhartarashtran Kapidvaja Pravrutte Shastra Sampate Dhanurudyamya Pandava. So there, after that, Dhritarashtra's men standing in their positions when all the weapons were ready to action. Arjuna, having Kapidvaja Hanuman as his flagstaff, raising his bow, said these words to Rishikesha. So what Arjuna says and what this shloka in detail, we will look at that next time.